In His Will Ministries International presents Midweek Message. Hi, family. Well, family, today Midweek Message is going to be a little different. Um, I'm going to tell you the story about a friend of mine. She's a sister and a friend. And so, as a sister, she was a pain in my behind. She had a smart mouth. So did I. So do I. She could be a bit of a Karen, and I'd be like, "Yo, why? Like, just leave it alone." And then she'd do it, and I'd be like, "Did it make you feel any better?" Yeah. She would always tell me, "Yeah." As a sister, whew, I'll tell you, her and I would have words. When I say we'd go months without talking, we'd go months without talking to each other. But somehow, just like sisters do, just like, oh, you want to get some lunch or something? We just go back talking again. um, but as a friend, she was a really special woman. My friend Nancy Santos Wilson, grew up in very humble beginnings. And if you know anything about generational curses, for her family, the generational curse was addiction. And because of addiction, her mother ended up being taken away and not growing up really with her siblings. And then as as a little girl at like 5 years old, Nancy ended up being taken away. At 5 years old, Nancy was sitting at the bar with her mom. Like, that's no place for a 5 year old. And so addiction got her taken away. So she ended up in foster care. And you know, foster care isn't really a safe place for a little girl either. But after several homes and, you know, some trauma, she ended up with this family. Now, Nancy is Portuguese. And so she grew up with a white Portuguese family. And there was a little racism, a little something, something there. But in her foster family, she ended up with a black Portuguese family. Now, the mother of this family couldn't have children. And so she adopted and fostered all these kids, like 5 6 kids, and they were a family. And so not only were they a family, the extended family was big, and they were always there. And so she ended up with this big huge family that loved her just because she was her. And um that's where she learned how to be a family and how to love. And so she still had her biological family. She still had contact with them. Please don't get that wrong. But so she had two families. Um, Nancy left her uh, foster family and went into the Air Force and started her Air Force family. She told me that she was in the color guard, and so that she would hold the flag in parades and at funerals. So that was real special to her. She was a veteran. And also, she has this really crazy story, and I wish that she could tell it because I know I'm messing it up. But she had a roommate, and the roommate was going to move to Germany with her man. So, as far as Nancy knew, she went. But what happened was she later found out is that the roommate was murdered there, like at the base. Never made it to Germany. Okay, so that's not even, I have gallows humor, sorry. Never even made it to Germany. They later found her. Very sad story and very scary for Nancy. Um, so that was so besides that, Nancy met her husband there, and they ended up in the Air Force, and they ended up having two beautiful children. These children were her life. And I know that Nancy wanted to give them the childhood she had with her foster family, with the big extended family and everybody like getting together, but it didn't happen that way, and that was a big disappointment for her. And because it was such an important part of her life. She wanted to be able to share that with her kids, but it didn't work out that way. So yeah, that was a disappointment for her, but she did a good job with her children, and she raised the wonderful children. Nancy has she has two biological children. She has two stepchildren, I think. She has step grandchildren and a great grandson, I think. And her son Maurice has four children, and she's proud of them all. She's a proud grandma, great grandma, very proud of her family, and loved her family. Um, Nancy was always there to celebrate with you or mourn with you. She was there for me when my mom and my aunt passed. And she was there for birthdays. When I retired, she got a bunch of my retired friends together. I don't know how she did it. And we all had dinner and drinks. Um, she was a good friend and a good sister. She has a brother that died before her, predeceased her. Um, she has a gang of nieces and nephews and a big old family. She did have a big old family, and she has her big old probation family. And so, to the, excuse me, to the family of Nancy Wilson, I want you to know she was very loved, and her death has hit us all pretty hard. And I didn't get to see her when I was up there, and I get to remember her as she was. Um, that's my story of my friend Nancy. I didn't say what a giving and creative person she was. Nancy was always creating something. And she opened that up in me. She's like, "You are too creative, Dana." And she had me creating stuff. And I'd do stuff and show her. She'd be like, "That's so nice." But Nancy was also like crocheted and knitted, and she just did all kinds of wonderful things. And she was very generous with all of her creativity. Afghans that she could have sold for 70, $80, she would give away for people for having a baby or getting married. Or she just, when my mom was in the nursing home, we did Christmas, and she gave a couple away for some of the seniors for Christmas. Like, she just did really nice, sweet stuff like that. Always ready to volunteer and help. She was generous with her time and her talent and her finances, as my church would say. Um, Time, talent, and treasure. Uh, I I don't know what more to say. I just want the world to know what a special person she was and how she'll be loved and remembered. Well, join us again next time when In His Will Ministries International presents Midweek Message. Whew, that was tough. Until then, bye.